And live. I think it's live. Let's just assume it's live.
It's live.
I'm going to have a cereal. Is it live?
It's live.
Oh, shit.
We're live. Redfall.
It's not, I can't see if it's live, but I'll
John
just
Wolf
assume
says, is the stream 30 or 60 FPS?
I actually don't know. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank you. Colt Eastwood. Look at it. Colt Eastwood sorted out this branding in the space of like 2 microseconds. He did it so fast. I watched him do it. It's crazy. But shout out to everyone in the chat. This is going to be a show where we cry, a show where we damage control. No, we don't do that. Oh man, it's been a mad day, man. Like, what the flip? Trust Xbox, Cole. Trust Xbox to screw us so hard out of nowhere. We're tolerating everything, and you're like, the IGN gameplay looks shit, and then you come out with this like cool sizzle reel. People were giving you crap for that, and then you went to the event, and then boom, today we find out Redfall doesn't even hit 60 on Xbox Series consoles until this unannounced date later on, maybe soon after, who knows, but 30 FPS for a first-person shooter, and they just drop it now, just less than a month before the game is releasing. It's
3 weeks, 20 days.
Cole, what's going on? This whole power narrative has been a fat L for Xbox.
Oh, it has been unbearable for content creators that care about console hardware. But I have to say, guys, the last time you and I went live like on a whim was when Starfield and Redfall got delayed like over a year ago.
Feels good to be back.
It does. It really does, man. What's going on? There's a lot to unpack. I don't know how far back you want to get started, but everything we've seen of Redfall up to this point has been 60 frames, except for the pre-rendered cinematic trailer in 2020 or 2021. I think it was 2021. Yeah. I mean, we're led to believe that it would be 60. Everything was shown as 60. I mean, why wouldn't it be 60 FPS? Why wouldn't it be, guys?
Well, I saw you were catching a lot of flack on the social media. Everyone was like, well, you went to the event, you played the game. Why didn't you tell anyone you played it on PC? Is it because of NDAs? Or what was the reason?
Yeah, I mean, today was like the literal gif of the girl with the hot dogs flying at her face. That's how I mean, I did. I put out that preview 3 weeks ago. And I explained like 3 times in the video that I played it on PC. So
you did? Oh
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know, the funny thing is people are taking the screenshot of the actual video that I put out 3 weeks ago that says something like Redfall, Xbox exclusive, 4K 60 gameplay, something. Yeah. And they're like, Colt's trying to pass this off as Xbox content or Xbox console gameplay, but they sent me the footage, and I had to say in the video, this isn't my gameplay. I played it on a PC. They sent me the footage. This isn't my footage. I didn't record this. And they sent it to me at 3840 by 2160, which is 4K, at 60 frames at a kind of a decent, I was like 20 megabit compression bit rate, which was right on the edge of just good enough for my uploads on my channel. I usually do 50 megabits. I do double the quality compression, but I do that frame buffer. And there it was, 4K 60 footage on PC. But there's more to the story from what I actually played. Yeah. But there's also more to the story with like NDA stuff.
Are you breaking NDAs by saying this stuff? Or?
I signed a monster NDA and the event was all about the characters, the one mission we were allowed to play, and then roaming around the open world and kind of doing side stuff, which was very difficult to do in 1.5 hours. Impossible. So yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I guess I don't want to just sit here and ramble on.
Let me just quickly shout out to the chat as well. Like, Welcome to the Septic Source channel. This was where I was commenting on called Gaz. I just renamed it. But yeah, I've been meaning to do streams. So the shout out to all of you, like 83 people. That's a lot for a channel that's only got 258 subs, which doubled today. But thank you so much. Shout out to Eric Kurtz for the win, Ricardo, Jason, Max, Chris Blackburn, John Wolf, Svein, Olav Larson. I hope I pronounced that properly. Sounds like I did. Creative Monster, Chronic UK. Hi again. He's been feeling a certain way about it as well. Falk and Kwe. I'm not going to read that. Brandon Martin, Demetrius Aram Patsidis. I know I'm killing these names today. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Web Dave, Wolf of Darkness. Wolf of Darkness.
These are all our friends of years and years.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's the community that we know. Rennie, Berserker, what's up? It's you know what? One thing I will say, I'm kind of glad no one is. Well, I say that I'm kind of glad no one is damage controlling. I did see one disgusting damage control post that made me want to just like prolapse. It was just the guy was saying,
"Tell us all about it."
Yeah, God, it was so dumb. Like he quote tweeted, you know. So I was so pissed off. I wrote an article straight away, like on Game On Daily, just like blurt out my thoughts, like what is going on? This is a fat L for. I mean, I couldn't believe it as I was typing it. I was like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe I'm writing an article on this. Redfall game barely looks next gen, Colt. Like, come on, man. This is not a next gen looking game. And this is running at 30. Then what chance does Starfield even have? Are you like now gonna?
Oh, I mean, you could bring in the Starfield thing later, but you know, different game, different engine, different studio. Like, obviously,
are you worried
I
about
really
the
wanted
Series
to paint
X,
that picture.
though, man? What the hell is going on?
It's not the hardware. It's definitely not the hardware. I mean, come on. Far Cry 6, massive open world games on PS5 and Series X, and even Series S. The Assassin's Creed Valhalla looks 10 times better in every imaginable way than Redfall does, because Redfall is not made to look like this photo. It's a stylized game. It's not made to look photorealistic. Everything's like really stylized, which means they've simplified down visuals. But a game like Assassin's Creed Valhalla runs at 60 FPS on the Series S. Like, there's definitely something wrong here, and Xbox hardware is not the common denominator. I mean, every game that's come out on the console runs at 60 FPS except for Plague's Tale Requiem, Gotham Knights, and now Redfall. Pretty much, I mean, I'm talking like 200 major games that have come out in the past 2 years. Yeah, it doesn't add up. And
but this is a first party title, Cole.
I know. Okay, so let me explain. When I got there and saw those PCs, and I was like, what are these things? It looks like something my work gave me back in 2013.
Saw your video, which is really good.
I mean, you don't need
tiny little tower PCs in the picture.
Right. You don't need, I'm not talking like you don't need plexiglass with LEDs. That has nothing to do with it. But that PC looked like something that, you know, like a government agency drops on your desk and says, here's, you know, run Excel on this. My PC tower case is like this big and this wide. Those things were like, I could barely fit a peanut butter sandwich in them. And I thought, what the heck? The performance of the game really bothered me. Half the time it was chugging. And the reason why I didn't talk about this in the preview is they were very specific, and this long NDA I had to sign before I went to LA about what we could talk about, what we couldn't talk about. And they were concentrating on the characters. They're concentrating on the one mission and just playing the characters and being in the open world. And I asked about the consoles, and they're like, we're not talking about that right now. And, you know, you get shot down. And like, people are like, Colt, why didn't you drill? I was like, I'm not Jason Schreier. I'm not that little weasel who goes in and goes, you know, what did you do? You know, like that's what he does. He does ambush journalism. I'm not, it's not ambush journalism when you go to play a game like that. So, like I said in the video, the guy next to me, who is a big YouTuber, 800,000 subscribers, he didn't talk about the performance. He didn't talk about the PCs being crummy. He didn't even mention that he opened up the settings and tried to dumb down the visuals so he could get the frame rate to level out. I was afraid to go into the settings because they had people walking around like, "You guys good? You guys good?" And I didn't want them to say I didn't want them to see me like messing around with the game. I already got laughed at when I accidentally launched the actual beginning of the game and saw the opening cutscene, which no one saw but me, because I went into the main menu trying to change characters. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those, you're in this like real high stakes situation where you're supposed to be enjoying the game, but I definitely wasn't going to drill him about what's it going to do on the Xbox console. Why aren't the Xbox consoles here? Because I wanted to play on them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, that was a bit of a, well, I don't know. PC, they use PCs quite a lot. The fact that the PC was performing badly in your experience there, that means that the chances are of the PC running really crap are also higher then.
Very bad.
What the hell?
So the guy next to me, I'm not going to mention his name, but anyway, he goes, I went in to change the settings to lower the resolution, because he mostly plays on PC. He goes, I go into the Redfall settings to change the resolution down so I can get better performance. He goes, it was already at 1080p. And he goes, and most everything was on high and medium settings. And I was like, oh my gosh, like there's no reason on this planet Earth why a game that looks like Redfall should be dropping frames. Something was wrong.
Yeah. Shout out to John Wolf in the chat, Jason Max, Poison Maniac. Jason, Mav, shout out to Babe, Gamer Bum, all of you guys. Shout out to you guys joining me again. It's the second stream, really. First one was me just messing about. Did you check out the stream? I was just singing as I was crying, on StreamYard. But yeah, it's just like this is going to be a situation where we're going to get another press statement from the company, because the last time I remember this kind of backlash, perhaps, when the Starfield delay happened, but before that, it was the Xbox Gold price hike. That I've now seen so many people in unison absolutely shit on Microsoft, like today. It was bad. I've not seen that.
I expected it, but I didn't. I wasn't ready for the, why don't you just wait and play it? I want to play it at 30 FPS. And when did we experience that? And we're totally right.
I know.
Why don't you just wait? Why don't you just wait for co-op?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. What are people saying in chat? John Wolf says, game is coming in hot, guys. This may give us Last of Us PC on competition. Can you imagine? That's disgusting. Even to think about. After hearing the 30 FPS news, says Wolf of Darkness, that means Redfall's unfinished. And 2, the game developers are lazy. Or 3, the Xbox Series consoles are hard to develop for. What do you make of that?
I mean, I would say, yeah, but I'm actually hearing that they're easy to develop for. They're just not doing any of the optimization, especially third party. And this is a first party game where they should be doing that optimization. But also you look at the all powerful PS5 was struggling with Ghostwire Tokyo a little bit more than the Series X. Forspoken was all over. That frame time graph looked like my heartbeat when I was in the hospital with a dislocated shoulder. But it doesn't surprise me. Like, I don't use that as a gotcha. Look at Forspoken's frame time graph, because I've been gaming a long time and every game drops frames all the time. The only game that doesn't drop frames is like a Forza game or a Gran Turismo. Like, those games don't drop frames. Like, the racing games almost never drop frames, but almost every game is dropping frames. And it must have been so bad. I mean, it had to be bad. That PC was running horribly. I'm going to vote on this. Yes, Redfall should be delayed.
Yeah, I think most people will say yes. Moby in the chat goes, why Xbox keeps stepping on rakes like Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons? I don't know. It was a very good analogy, though, because that's exactly what's happening. Luscious Mesh says it's too late for the delay. Damage is done. I also think it's actually too late for it to be delayed. I don't think they'll make that. Well, I'll find it very intriguing, because they presumably have to have arrangements with retailers, right? Has it gone gold? It has gone gold, right?
No, not yet. But I would expect going gold was going to be the announcement like in a week. So,
Slow.
I was talking to somebody that told me that it's way too late for them to delay the game. They're just going to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, unlikely.
But I've also been talking to people that speculate that it would probably take about 2 months to get this 60 FPS update. And like every game, I'm already done. Atomic Heart, I finished the game. They're like, "Oh, we got a major performance update." I'm like, "I already wrapped it. I'm not going back to see how it plays. I already played it." Dying Light 2 was 1080p 60. And then was like a month later, they were like 1440p 60 on Series X, just how it should be. I'm like, I already wrapped the game, rolled the credits. Like, this is not how games should be coming out.
When I was DMing Jason Ronald about this, he said often like they do send teams. He was in charge of them at one point. I don't know if he's in charge of it now, but they do send teams out, and other third parties don't always necessarily take on the advice that they give them, or it's a bit late because obviously they're contending with developing for the game. But the funny thing is, this is a first party title, and again, the question is about management. Colt, man, heads need to roll at this point. Like, someone at management has to be liable for this. How many times do they escape liability? Like, vicariously liable. Phil Spencer ultimately is liable.
Well, I mean, they don't escape it. They get reamed pretty hard by the public, but there needs to be a change with the accountability, right? And there's a lot of different factors in this that we can't just say, oh, it runs at 30, what the crap, and I'm outraged. There's a lot of factors. Number one factor is Arcane Studios normally works in the Void engine, which is a modified version of id Tech, if I'm saying that correctly. They chose this time to go with Unreal Engine 4, and somebody was telling me that Unreal Engine is not the greatest for open world games. So you've got Arcane, who's using an engine that's not conducive to open world games. Plus, they don't normally work in the engine. So now they're working around the hurdles of this engine. And you have a budget of what you want on screen or what you want things to do on screen. And that all has to happen within a 60 frame time graph or a 30 frame time graph for every rendered frame. And that budget is obviously way overspent, and the game's not holding 60 on middleware PC or on the new consoles. So as far as when you said Jason Ronald should send the team out, normally Bethesda for 25 years, they've done everything in-house. Arcane, Bethesda Softworks, they've done their own stuff. They optimize, they do their own quality control. They don't have to run it by Microsoft and then they push their game out. Well, this time they do. And they didn't hit up Xbox like 6 months ago and go, oh my gosh, this game's totally not running at 60. And
well, that's crazy. Microsoft, it's on Microsoft. They need to be keeping their ears on the ground. They say, hey, what's going on? What's going on? Show us how it's running. Are you in line for hitting your targets now? And they're I mean, at this point, it's becoming a bit of a joke. I can't believe that we're 3 weeks away from the release of the game and we're having this conversation. A game like this, if you told me this yesterday, I would have laughed in your face. I'm like, shut up.
Same.
That's obviously fake news. Redfall 30. Redfall does not look like it'd be running 30. And a lot of people are sharing Aaron Greenberg's tweet where he's saying, what is it? 60 will be the standard, going for 120. I'm like, that's age like gone off milk. So, it's a bad look. Again, I keep saying, we put up with
Hey, Variant Gaming, do me a favor. Clean out your ears. I'm not damage control. I'm bashing Xbox pretty hard. Pay attention. It's not that long of a show. We've only been here like 20 minutes. It's not that it's not that difficult. Yeah. There are major problems. Major problems. There's no reason why I don't know what was in those PCs. The guy next to me was afraid to actually go in, minimized to the desktop, because they had a keyboard pushed underneath the, I could have snuck that in there. I could have done Jason Schreier. I could have put down a flashbang grenade, but that isn't really how you do things.
Yeah. I mean, is this because of the Series S?
No. The minimum spec PC is a 2.8 gigahertz i5 processor. I didn't actually look when I made that video. I didn't look up how old that i5 Intel processor is, but I'm assuming it's been around a little while. The Series S has a 3.8 gigahertz processor that is multi-threaded, a multi-thread processor which should be able to handle that frame rate. And then it's got a decent GPU, but the minimum spec PC was an RX 580, which is equivalent to a PS4 Pro from 2016. Yeah. Minimum spec PC. So what is that supposed to run? Like, there is something seriously wrong. Those specs are really low, meaning the game shouldn't be demanding. And if you have a PC like that and you try to run Redfall, you're going to be in console Gen 8 territory. It sucks.
Yeah, but sucks. Yeah, it really does suck. The PC version is running janky, like you reporting on when you played it. The console versions don't have that. I don't see anyone blaming Arcane Austin that much. I mean, obviously they developed the game, but the people are pointing squarely at Microsoft and Xbox, and I think that's the right way to think about it. I think really fingers should be pointed at Microsoft. It's frankly,
yeah. I mean, they should be doing the QA/QC, but so should Bethesda Softworks. Like, they've been doing their own QA/QC, and I have a feeling that because you don't get it both ways. People always say that if Redfall fails, it's Xbox fault. If it was amazing, they had nothing to do with it. It was Bethesda, right? So,
yeah. True, yeah.
So I think Bethesda might have just did the same thing they did with Starfield, as they left Microsoft out of the loop for a long time. And we're all forgetting that there have been a lot of games who have had major problems that should not. There's no reason why CD Projekt Red, with a game that looks like Cyberpunk that doesn't blow your face off, there's no reason why that game should run so horribly on hardware. And it did, because there's like some kind of disconnect that happened. And I don't know why people will say, well, it's COVID. Well, something happened. Something happened in 2020 where games look the same as they freaking look for the past 10 years. And don't argue with me, because I'm right, because the games still look like we're playing slightly upgraded, maybe double the frame rate, the same games we played on the Xbox One since launch. And they looked great back then. I mean, you're telling me, like, what has actually come out this generation that looks miles better, next generation better than the games we enjoyed, like Red Dead Redemption 2. You tell me there's been something that's come out that looks better than that? Maybe.
Nothing comes close to Red Dead Redemption, really. The Matrix demo, if that counts.
Yeah, you can barely play it. And I know there are games, like I would say Horizon Forbidden West looks really, really good, and it runs at 60 frames. And that's like a really good example of how you should be doing next generation games. And I know Starfield's going to look fantastic, and we'll get into that later, where I still think it'll be 60 frames, but there's something that has gone on with game development over this past 2 years where we're getting kind of the same stuff, sometimes lower quality. I loved Hogwarts Legacy. It was really nice looking, but it looked like an Xbox One PS4 generation game that ran at 60 and held it, and it's an amazing game. I mean, am I wrong, Gaz? Is that kind of what we're getting? Have we got next generation yet?
I've been crying about this for ages, about the fact that we've been getting basically cross-gen experiences. We haven't. Well, I'm still playing Sekiro, by the way. I'm just like, I don't feel like I'm. When you go back a gen, you should be feeling. You should be feeling like, oh crap, I'm going back a gen. But I played Wolong earlier. Sekiro looks better than Wolong. Like it does. Literally felt. Yeah, man. Like
it's a 2019 game. Yeah, you don't feel like you're going back and playing old crap, right?
It does not feel like that at all. It's weird. It's just like I didn't feel like this generational jump. We got sold this last gen. To be honest, last gen, it did make a difference. Rise did look really good, although played crap. Killzone Shadowfall looked stunning.
Infamous Second Son looks incredibly amazing on a base PS4. Like, there's no excuse, but
Order 1886 still to this day stands as an example of a very good looking game. Obviously, it was terrible to play, but it was a very stunning looking game. And yet, this gen, what is it like? You had Forza Horizon that looked nice, but it didn't like hold its like visual, I don't know, fidelity. Even Demon Souls, it looked nice for a bit, but it wasn't screaming next gen as a remake. Ratchet and Clank is a very beautiful game.
But so is the 2016 one.
That's what's
It's so
to
good
say.
that the PlayStation guys thought that my Ratchet and Clank 2016 footage, when I was reporting on one of the events, they thought it was from Rift Apart. Those games look incredible. They look great as is.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have had upgraded games, and Redfall, this showing from IGN is another big part of the story where they played it horribly. They were in an area that was just kind of really ugly, that little cabin house, and the field just looks really plain because it doesn't have those extra flourishes. Like, yeah, I mean, it's just a really bad look. And Randall Thor was telling me that they should have he's gonna get mad, but he'll probably say this in his video that he makes today, that he was telling me that Arcane should have just shut up and launched the game as is and let us deal with it at launch. And I was like, that is bullcrap. He goes, they wouldn't have the PR outfall for 3 weeks. The PR outfall would be when the game comes out.
We just basically sweep it under the rug, and when we find out what's going on, that would take the piss. Yep. You would never trust Arcane Austin ever again. Never again. After pulling something like that. Long-term trust.
No way. You got... As soon as I think what happened was this past week or so, they realized for sure that it wasn't going to hold 60 enough to be acceptable on a console, because you don't get the same experience on PC. PC guys will run a game that'll run for between 45 and 60 frames the entire time, and they won't say anything because no one's holding a microscope over their shoulder. They're fine. Yeah. I've done it. I played on PC. I'm like, oh, this is great. I set it to 4K 60 and it's dropping down to 45 half the time, but it's not a big deal. But when you're on console, Digital Foundry's right there with the pulse right on the wrist. And they're like, nope, it's dropping, 10 frames, 15 frames in certain spots. And if there's so many different pieces of hardware on PC, everyone can have different situations. So it's Jerry's fault. It's Jerry's PC's crap. Jerry,
what are you doing, man? God damn, Jerry. Oh.
Phase 23 goes, Colt, all PS5 games have a 60 FPS mode, a 40 FPS mode, and 120 FPS mode. Most Xbox games also have a 60 and 120. You could take 40 and shove it far and wide. That is 40 is like, hey, it runs nice. Oh, I turned the camera. Now I'm going to barf. It looks horrible. So you can take your 40. It's one of the reasons why I dropped Plague Tale Requiem. I don't like it.
Well, it's not looking good. By the way, I saw some really good comments in the chat. So Goat Review says, if GTA 6 comes out as 30 frames, do you think the industry would just accept it as the new norm? I think that's the only game to do it. I don't think they will. And someone else mentioned Horizon in the chat, said Horizon can get away with 30. See, that's different.
Horizon, what Horizon?
He says, but sorry, Hellblade will warrant 30 frames. And that's the thing. I was willing to give an allowance to Starfield because of its scope. I'd be willing to give Hellblade 2, and I think I was loggerheads with you guys on this, only because the way Ninja Theory are actually building that game, it's all cinematic. They're using cinematic lenses with bokeh and all of this. If they're going for the filmic experiences, you tend to go between for the 25 frames, maximum 30. But obviously that's still a game at the end of the day. So yeah, people will still have a fallout over it. I imagine we'll have an option.
Yeah, and Ninja Theory launched Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice with a performance mode on the PS4 Pro, and then when it got to the Xbox One X a year later, performance mode. So I expect them to follow suit with a performance mode. It'll be lower resolution at 60, and I'm sure they're probably doing that. But the Starfield thing is like, Starfield's not on Unreal Engine 4. It's not on Unreal Engine 5. It's on the Creation Engine 2. Todd Howard has said 30 frames like 3 different times in an interview with Ryan McCaffrey and Lex Friedman. So you can see why you would say 30. But then again, look at the hardware and look at the recent trailer where they showed 60 for a reason. I think a lot of things have changed, but there's a lot of variables there. I'm still sticking with
asking me why do I look so depressed. I'll be honest with you. I just broke my fast and I'm getting vertigo as I'm talking. Like everything's spinning.
Sorry,
so I'm just no, that's all good. We got to keep it. Sorry, no, it's bad decorum to have. I'm gonna have a little bit of sugar off screen to keep my head going. Because
what do you have? Some Captain Crunch?
Cereal.
It looks like Captain Crunch or Corn Puffs or something.
I can't even look at the chat.
Wandering Dutch.
Text is moving.
Wandering Dutch is PC Master Race for the win. Yeah.
How many people I saw that said they're moving to PC? They're moving to PC.
Is cracking me up.
That's crazy.
Oh,
Shout
gross,
out to
Erica.
people.
Captain Crunch with the berries is so gross, man. It tastes like baby puke. I don't like. I'll eat Captain Crunch regular, but I'm a cinnamon toast crunch kind of guy. It says MN says Redfall gave you vertigo. Got it.
Yeah, Redfall definitely gave me that frame rate. Gave me vertigo. Sorry, but before the stream, before I broke my fast, I was on like fully high energy, and I hadn't eaten. Soon as I've eaten, my head is spinning. So sorry about that, chat. Normally I'd like to keep up the energy, but my head is mad. I was going to say, what does this mean for Starfield? Are you confident that you said it was a different studio, different game, different blah 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 engine? Are you confident it's going to be because we thought the team was being sent out working. They sent Xbox's team there to make it 60. Now
we know the Xbox team has been helping them, and they've had an extra year plus. So I'm fairly confident, and I've been proven wrong on things. Like everyone, even the toxicest of ponies knew this game would be 60 frames. Like I think we all got like shocked today that this game that Redfall does not look like it's a demanding game. So it's definitely not the hardware. It's definitely a major problem with optimization, and even worse. And this is why I call for Redfall to be delayed. And you would agree with me, guys. It's even worse if the frame rate isn't up to par. What else is not up to par on the game? What else isn't ready? Because remember when it was like, oh, it's just co-op, still big deal. You just wait to play it. Just don't delay Halo. Okay. And it wasn't just a co-op and Forge that was delayed. What else was it, Gaz? It was everything. Everything was behind. Remember?
I know, man. But this is an Xbox problem. It is always an Xbox problem. And I don't know how you recover from this. The only way you could conceivably do that is announce Starfield is running at 60 confirmed. That would go a long way because we haven't had official confirmation. We only went by the trailer and some bits of it were running at 60.
I know.
So I think Xbox needs to respond. And if they're going to if Arcane Austin's not going to do it, then the other Bethesda suite need to come out with something.
Would that be in poor taste to step on Arcane and go, our game's going to be 60? I would like to hear that.
No, I don't think so. I think Arcane, if Arcane's failed and made your brand look bad, it's your job as a company to say, well, you haven't done what you did. It's making us look bad if that is the case, which it is. But whether it's Xbox's fault or this development, obviously you first point at the development studio, but then ultimately the platform holder for not assisting in making that happen. But that doesn't stop Microsoft or Xbox from going back to say, hey, we have an image issue here. They marketed the world's most powerful console. It does not look like that right now. It looks weak as flip. So it needs to freaking sort its shit out, man. Like they need to show Starfield, release it. Boom, new trailer 60. And so then on console, not on PC, on console. Feels like a lot of people were saying, why is it that Xbox gamers are treated like second-class citizens, and all this PC focus or the Xbox getting slapped around again? We pay for Xbox Live Gold. We don't get the premium experience on consoles, man, like we should do. And it feels like that narrative is building up.
There's a major problem that no one can really get a Series X because Phil has basically pushed all of the retail product in Series S. And then all of the Series X chips, almost all of them are going to the cloud infrastructure, which is growing huge. The other part of the Xbox platform is PC, which is 3 times bigger than Xbox. And they shouldn't treat the Xbox consoles as second-class citizens because you pay a lot of money for a Series X. And they make a lot of money in the space on consoles. And it's a big part of Game Pass. We're also hearing Game Pass is pretty huge on PC too. So the
Yeah, they
Xbox platform
expanded
is
it as
changing,
well.
but
Yeah.
nobody, Arcane should never think we got to let people know that this game's going to run at 30 on a brand new console. That's not right. That's not the right thing to do. And they know it. That's why they put it out now, so they could give 3, because they know Arcane probably knows that everyone freaks out for 2 days and then they move on to the next witch hunt. They'll freak out about Redfall today. They'll finish their witch hunt with me for the remainder of today and tomorrow, and then they'll move on to the next big thing that they're upset about. And
well, I think the problem is bigger than that, Cole. I think this one, I said 84 meta, that was at the highest. That is gone. This is a 70s meta game now. I'm telling you now. I'll be very surprised.
You and some of our friends that we talked to in the podcast circle saying this, like, no journalist or game reviewer is going to dock a game 10 points because of the frame rate.
Yes, they will. Why
no, they won't.
The game feels completely different.
They've been reviewing games at 30 frames for decades. I don't think that's the problem. I'm worried.
There's no way a reviewer will be in an echo to a vacuum, and they're going to be like, let's ignore the frame rate for now. Like
Goat Review says, Zelda won't get docked. Dude, Zelda's going to run at 17 to 24 frames per second.
Zelda's a very special case. It's a bloody Switch. The K-Con thing is old. We all know it.
So it doesn't matter, because a reviewer could get the game on PC and they could have a really great rig or not. But the game, it's a shooter. It has to run at 60. It really does. It can't run at 30. It's not a good feel.
But then you say that, but you say they can't dock points for it?
I don't think they'll dock the points for, unless, now what they will dock the points for is 2 things. Is if the game struggles to run on their platform or their hardware they're playing. Like if it runs bad where it just feels horrible, that you can dock a game hard for, because it becomes unplayable or becomes a chore to play. That's a problem. My other problem is I'm not so much worried about what reviewers are going to say about the frame rate. I already know I don't like that. I'm worried about that there's more wrong with the game than just the performance. If they're pushing this hard that they're willing to put it out on a powerful set of consoles at 30 frames, I'm afraid there must be more wrong to this game than we know about.
Wow. Wow. So you're saying that 30 frames is the least of our problems. There might be more problems, underlying issues with the game itself.
Yeah. I mean, I know I did a poll on Twitter and 78% said they would rather it be delayed so they could get 60 frames. But unfortunately, and I hate this, unfortunately, the rest of the world doesn't give 2 flying craps about the 60 versus 30. And even Randall Thor will tell you it's a really sad state of affairs where most people do not care about the frame rate, except for we make up a microcosm of 5 to 10% of people who are really all about, does it have HDR? Does it have VRR? Does it have 60 frames? Does it have ray tracing? Does it have all that stuff? Like, we are such a small part, and I hate that our voice isn't heard. So my problem is, if they're not ready with a performance, what else isn't ready? Because this game is apparently, with a year extra delay, is still being rushed out and pushed before it's done in the oven. That's what I'm not happy about, because I haven't really got to play the game. I got to play the game for an hour and a half. We got to play a little extra. There's just so much that I didn't get to dive into. I didn't even get to really look at the gear or level up any more of the abilities, because it's so fast when you play. Like, you really need to sit down and play. I played Ghostwire Tokyo last night for 6 hours, and I was like 3 or 4 hours in when I'm like, okay, I understand everything. I understand all the stuff, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm worried about what's not ready.
Damn. No, that's really bad. When you say that, that's really bad. When you played the game, I was going to ask you, actually, before you mentioned the fact that you didn't actually get to play a lot of the game. That goes to show there's a lot to the game. There's a leveling up element.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't even get to check out the Ness. I didn't get to rein the Rook in by killing too many vampires. I didn't even get to finish the main mission because I spent probably 20 golden precious moments looking for the third item to unlock the fourth dimension portal. That was part of the main mission. I probably wasted 10 minutes looking for a second key, which is all stuff that's totally normal when you're at home. But when I was in LA, I was like, I gotta get past this so I can get to the next thing because I want to experience as much as possible. And an hour and a half is not enough time. But everybody loved what they played. I was there with 20 people. Paris Lilly and a group of media, bigger content creators and media people were there an hour or two before us. They all said they loved the game. Everybody I talked to that played it, I watched some of the other previews. Everybody really liked the game. All of the accolades that came in, nobody was worried about the game was going to be good or not.
But these are the same people who played Cyberpunk, and they said they loved that game. The sugar is coming back in the system.
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for having me on. I mean, I love Cyberpunk, but when I sat down to play it, I'm like, this isn't doing anything that hasn't been done before, but I'm still enjoying it. But you got me good on that one.
Yeah, man. At this
what
point,
would have been great, Gaz, if I would have got up, and what kind of chair would have been behind me?
Yellow chair. If you had a yellow chair, you would not be. I'll tell you to. Oh, what the hell? No way. No way. Oh, man. Oh, Colt. It is
You're going to have to clip that later. Let's go, Colt Eastwood exposed.
I might actually have to do that just to be a dick.
Dang, I fell off my Cyberpunk chair when you said that.
Oh man, it is a fat L, man. Brian Harris says, let chat GPT optimize the game. We'll do a better job than Xbox is right now. It's soon a fat L.
Soon AI will be fixing all of our problems, yes.
Yeah. Hopefully. Well, I hope the AI in this game is also good, because the last time they showed off the footage for IGN showed off the footage, the enemies weren't really doing much. It looked really bad. The IGN guy, how did these guys get jobs at IGN, man? They don't play games. Like, it was the most frustrating thing ever. With one, why did Arcane Austin pass that? Like, how did that, bro?
Well,
that is such
they don't have to vet.
Single-handedly, IGN that came up. Well, not single-handedly.
They don't have to vet it. They just gave them a build with a save state at home, at their office, and they played it.
Because it's IGN, right? And you can share and get an exclusive look. First look.
IGN
here's the
is
first
16...
look at the floor of you running around not shooting anyone. Oh, here's a shitty little human NPC. Let me shoot him 3 times. I'm looking at the health bar. Kill him. Let me see the impact animation.
He's like switch off and run to
and he goes garage to go, and it runs up, looking at the floor, looks up, and like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Is this guy?
You know what he was doing, Gaz?
Moron.
This is what he was doing when he was playing.
I can't see it because my frame. Oh yeah, you were frozen there. That's what he was doing. It literally looked like that.
He was on his phone. He was on Twitter.
Yeah, it's just like it was such a bad look at the time. So when you look at that, you're like, oh, that still, it doesn't do a good job for the job. But all of that is completely eclipsed by this. And I had more faith in, we were talking about Bethesda. We're like, oh my God, thank God for Bethesda. Bethesda's carrying Xbox. Bethesda's carrying Xbox.
4 games in 2 years. Deathloop, Ghostwire Tokyo, Redfall, and Starfield, all in 2 years' time. Yeah. I mean, 30 frames.
I do feel sorry for you, because you have to remember, this is Arcane Austin you're talking about. And before this, their record was really impressive with Dishonored and Prey. Prey, even though it was criminally overlooked, critically it did well, but people have a lot of fans. The Dishonored games, even though I haven't actually completed them because I just always get lost and never. Yeah, those are the kind of games I feel like you have to devote just that time. It's not a quick resume game. You have to just focus on Deathloop, focus on Dishonored,
right,
and then play it. But this is looking like, I know the game hasn't even released yet, but it's looking like a stain on their legacy. And I think that's not. I feel for the studio, and this is you see, when you try and move away, like fan faithful will only tolerate like a divergence step, like if it succeeds tremendously.
Their last game was Prey, and Prey is incredible. And this is a different type of game. Everyone was like, what's with the combat? I'm like, the combat's great. Combat, the words I use, punchy and whatever. And they're like, they don't look punchy. I'm like, okay, but that's not my footage. That was another thing they're trying to get me on. He passed it off as his footage on Series X. I'm like, you did that. I did an 18-minute preview, mentioned 3 times it was on PC, never mentioned the Series X performance, wasn't even allowed to. And people are crazy, but the gunplay feels great. Id helped them and consulted with the gunplay. The gunplay's great. The footage they sent me was obviously on the easiest mode because the enemies weren't even aggressive in the footage that I was provided. I played the game and died like 4 times. I was mad because I had to go. I was hiked all the way back to the middle of the map where the fire station was, which is one of your main hubs that you get missions from and do all your gear and stuff. And I had to keep going out and walk 700 meters to the mission. That was another reason why I was kind of freaking out. When I died, I'm like, I'm killing precious time. I want to be able to play this game.
It's not they flew you that way and only give you an hour and a half. I feel like it's a bit of a disservice.
Yeah, it feels like that because I flew like from Washington to LA was like 5 hours of travel, and the event started at noon the next day, and our time there was with them was like maybe 2 hours. They showed us a trailer no one had seen yet. They talked to us about the game. Ricardo Bear was there. He's awesome. Everyone was all happy. They played the game. We got up and took a break when the game was done, and we were like having a cookie and a drink, and I was listening to everybody talking. They loved it. They had so much fun. Yeah. And then I get home and they're like, we'll send you the footage soon. I'm like, where is it? So yeah, that's where it is. That's where it is.
Sorry, I'm munching food as you talk. Keep
no,
talking.
that's okay. What else is there? Okay, so when somebody asked about Unreal Engine 4 and Unreal Engine 5, this game was announced to be an Unreal Engine 5. It's going to be one of the first Unreal Engine 5 games to be released on anything besides Fortnite, which is amazing. And at one point, they never brought it up to Unreal Engine 5. In Unreal Engine 5, you can take all of your work and do a porting process, a conversion process, and everything smoothly goes into Unreal Engine 5. And at some point, Redfall team just thought, we're not ready. I would assume they were just like, we don't have time to even bother with Unreal Engine 5. We can barely get this game to run on a 10-year-old government PC on Unreal Engine 4. And everyone's like, why didn't you talk about this in your preview? I was like, I couldn't talk about that stuff. I couldn't talk about, I couldn't guess what the PC was. I asked about the console and they said they weren't talking about it. So I didn't even bring that up in the preview. The preview is all about the characters, the open world, and the gameplay. And I tried to cram that into an 18-minute video. And people are like, you lied. You can't trust him. You could never trust me anyway. You never liked me. So what does it matter?
I know. I saw some of the ponies say that. I'm like, no one is believing you there because they've always been out to get you, and now me recently, which is good. Keep coming at me. I'll kick the shit out of you, and your mum will watch you get the shit kicked out of you. But yeah,
well, she eats caramel corn. But I gotta say, it does feel nice. It does feel nice podcasting with Gaz from Game On Daily. This is nice.
It feels right at home. Even though my energy is sapped from fasting, I feel like it feels. Well, right.
I'm hungry, so we'll try and even each other's out our horrible energy.
Yeah. I mean, okay,
Albert G says,
Albert G in the chat. I know
he says the fact they wouldn't talk about console version is a huge red flag, and you should have mentioned it. No, I shouldn't have. It was a passing comment. I said, what are you guys talking about with the Xbox Series S and X? And they're like, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the characters. We're talking about the gameplay and the world. I'm like, okay. It's like that.
Yeah, what were you going to say?
It's not ambush journalism.
Albert G, you're going to go in there. But why can't you talk? They've invited you, paid for your flights, gone over there. I'm like,
well, yes, it's nice that they did all that.
No one does that, bro.
It's nice that they paid for it, but it doesn't bear
to people. Do you not interact with people in real life? Come on, man. It doesn't bear
on whether they it's not like they paid for my flight, so I need to be respectful. It's not that. You're respectful, period. You can ask your questions. I've been on party chat with Phil Spencer before, right? And people are like, did you ask him about this? Did you ask him about that? Ask him where this is. I'm like, no, you don't do that.
I would do that. I would do that. Hey, look, Phil, look. Every time you join parties with these guys, they're too scared to ask you the question. I would ask you, listen, do you want to hear a bunch of freaking people gargling? Or do you want some real? I'm not saying that you're gargling on the semen. That sounded weird. But I want to. But I do want to. I just sit there. I'd love to be in party chat with Phil Spencer right now, because I'd be like, Phil, what is going on, bro? Like, talk to me, because I know he gets pissed at these things. I know he has a competitive spirit.
I think he's
does
very
too, nice public facing. Like, he's like very nice. This is like, yeah, we have to give our teams. It's unfortunate, but quality and consistency is really important. But in his mind, you know what happening in back doors? He goes back to Redmond. He goes to like, where's that intern? That little intern? Where's that? Which one? That one bastard. Yeah, that's right. He's from Pakistan. Get him here. It's like, hello, Phil Spencer. I've been your biggest fan. And Phil Spencer's like beating the shit out of him. Like, oh, you mother of a bitch.
I take it back. I don't miss podcasting with you. Yes. Yeah. I mean, the end. So when I first got invited, I didn't talk about this before. I was really super careful. I got this email from a company called Yellow Pike Media, and they said, we would like to invite you to play a AAA game in LA for an upcoming release. They didn't even say what. They didn't say from Xbox. They just said a big upcoming AAA game release this year. We'd like to fly you out to LA, but you need to sign this NDA. And it was this big, long PDF. And I was like, I signed my real name, my real signature, and I put a date. And I looked up Yellow Pike Media first, and they said that we're a media company that facilitates with other companies for public relations events or whatever. And I signed it. I go, what the heck did I just do? What if this is like a fishing thing and they're just gonna take my signature and go buy a house? And I was scared. Yeah. And I told my wife, and she goes, let me know as soon as you find out from that thing. And I go, it should be fine. But I mean, I looked it up. Well, like a couple weeks later, I get an email from Bethesda saying, you've been invited to the Redfall thing. Here's all the information. There's a long NDA for that as well, and all these rules. You can do this, you can't do that. And I can't talk about those things, but it was basically like I told you. We're talking about the characters, we're talking about the game, the gameplay, and the world, right? And that was it. And so when you get there, I mean, you're not going to be like, let's see what I can get away with, huh? Let's see what I can do. It's just not how it works. And notwithstanding the NDA, it's just good public common courtesy when you're dealing in a professional situation or in a business situation. It's just common courtesy. And you've all been there. Like, don't act like you haven't been there. You've all sat with one of the biggest bosses in your company you work for, and you know what not to say. Hopefully you do. You know what? Actually, I take that back. The PlayStation guys, they have zero tact. They're probably constantly trying to get unemployment because they're getting fired for sticking their hooves in their mouths.
Wow, I love how you turned that.
Yeah. No, but I'm with the delay Redfall. A game needs to come out at its absolute best. And if you have to hold back the performance, it's not at its best.
We know it's not going to get. I mean, the likelihood of it not being delayed, likelihood of it being delayed is so slim, in my opinion. So I think the question is almost redundant. The whole point about should it be delayed is just really for me personally is to gauge what people's reactions are going to be. Because that's a sign of whether or not they're tolerant of this kind of misstep, and they're not. Like, we got 81% of people saying that they should be delayed, which basically means they don't want to play this out at 30. This needs to be 60. I'm kind of glad.
Brian Martinez on Twitter, who a guy I follow for quite a while, he asked me, he's like, I have a 4090 GPU, I have 128 gigs of RAM. Basically, he has like a $5,000 PC. He's like, will it run at 60? And I said, probably. But it's like the Gotham Knights thing. I played Gotham Knights on my PC because of the 30 FPS problem. And I'll do that. If Starfield is only at 30, I'll go, wow, what an L. And I'll play it on my PC because I'm an Xbox gamer. I can play on the Series S. I can play on the Series X, and I can play on PC. I can do whatever I want. So, and it's Xbox exclusive. That's the best part. But Gotham Knights had such a horribly designed build of the game that it was so CPU intensive that no matter what you lowered, which is mostly graphics settings, it wouldn't make up for the bottlenecked CPU. Even Zocker's PC, Zocker 87, guy who we've been on podcasts with and are friends with, he has a $6,000 computer, and he said he was getting major frame drops, but it was staying above 60. So I would hold it at 60, and then when you zip around the world, it would just dive over and over on my really great PC. I have like a $2,800 PC. So
J-Rock says it's too late for a delay now. That would be another blow to their 12-month showcase.
People were trying to say that J-Rock was calling me out when he was like, where are the content creators? But J-Rock was genuinely asking, where were they on this? Why didn't they bring up the console? Why didn't they bring up the performance? And one of his tweets I didn't respond to, but it really was about, at the time when I made that preview, that was not on the table for me to talk about whatever PC they chose. And performance. It was all about the game, and that's what I tried to portray.
It's your fault, Colt.
Shout out to J-Rock. He's amazing.
Shout out to J-Rock in chat. I'm sorry I'm eating because I'm fasting.
No, it's okay. Hey, Morpheus says, shout out to Aaron Greenberg for saying 60 FPS is the new standard. And you know what? He's 100% right. He's absolutely right. Because if you look up the definition of the word standard, it is the standard. It's the like 98% of games.
The Xbox isn't meeting it.
Yeah, Xbox. Yeah, Redfall is not meeting the standard. Yeah.
Well, it'll be Redfall and there's Starfield. The only way you can conceivably recover from this, and an anticipation of a mid score for Redfall, because now it's looked like, for me now it's mid. The frame rate has pushed it from max 80. I was looking at 82 to 84 meta. Now it's like a 70s, mid 70s to late 70s, 78, 79 meta. The only way, so I've kind of put that in that category now. For a year where Xbox needs to go, we said Xbox has to kill it on all fronts. Only way, if Microsoft and Xbox PR are watching this, they would need, in my opinion, they would need to make sure that they announce. If they announce tomorrow, Starfield is on 60 frames on Series X, and they showed Series X footage tomorrow, that would go a very long way in because a lot of people, ponies that pretend don't give a shit about Redfall, right? So like, fuck it. Like, I mean, forgetting this is my freaking channel. Well, so is Game on Daily, mine and Aces. We have to be professional here. This is I can swear as much as I fucking want, but it's Ramadan, so I'm like,
it's Ramadan.
Yes, I'm trying not to.
Look at you. Such a good job.
I'm trying. But
great.
If Starfield is 60, it will overshadow this whole Redfall business.
It will.
So Microsoft, if you don't show it soon, that's 30 frames per second as well. I'm like, shout out to Cult Classic Cage in the chat. Yeah, no, definitely. And General C. No, they need to do that. 2 to 3 weeks time until launch day, and they drop this crap. I fully agree with you. It's taking the piss. I also
think they should have said when the 60 FPS patch is coming, but they don't know. They don't know. That's so stupid. Like, if they were like, we just need a couple weeks, it's like, just get it done then. Xbox has unlimited money. Just hire a team to optimize the crap out of that game and get things fixed. But it must be bad. It must be a long time. What did they say? The co-op for Halo is? They're like, oh, it's going to be the next season. It should literally be 3 months.
Oh,
and what was it?
And then
entire
6, 9
say the F word year.
Yeah, it was disgusting. The fact that Halo could happen to Halo, that is a 343 issue. What's happening to Arcane Austin? Like, now it becomes an Xbox issue. Because you're like, how many times with the initiative, everyone leaves. With bloody Undead Labs, they say, where's Xbox? They went remarkably silent. They were expecting them to help them with some of their internal issues. I think Matt Booty is a problem, man. I don't think he's doing his job. I mean, there's someone.
Well, Matt Booty has nothing to do with Bethesda Studios. He's only running the Xbox Game Studio team.
Whose job is it to manage these studios?
To manage Bethesda's group of studios?
Or anyone like Xbox Game
Pete
Studios.
Hines, Todd Howard, like this has never been a problem for Arcane. Arcane's games have always been come out and just people have really enjoyed them. But all of a sudden, yesterday, Redfall was not an Xbox exclusive, according to like 700 people who replied to me yesterday. It was not an Xbox exclusive. Today, it's a freaking Xbox exclusive through and through. This is how these people work. I can't take them seriously. I don't even reply to them. I just mute them immediately. I'm like, you're not smart enough to talk to, even for me, and I'm not very smart. I'm not going to dignify it. But,
nah, man.
Remember when Rand said that on the podcast with you and I? You and Rand were on Ecstasy podcast, and Rand said if Redfall fails, it's totally an Xbox game, and if it doesn't, they had nothing to do with it. And how could you be? You couldn't be more right than what Rand said.
Oh, that's so on point. I think it wasn't Colin Moriarty who said you can't give it credit for Starfield because they were working on the game before.
They had nothing to do with it. And now I'll bet you right now he's like, gosh dang, that Xbox stank on Redfall.
Yeah, he's like, well, Xbox Studios, there's a problem with the treatment of the developers.
He's gonna say, this is the classic. The people like the anti-Xbox guys will say, they're gonna say, Xbox should have brought their people in to fix it, and they didn't do anything. They sat there and did nothing. Typical of Xbox to ruin their games. I'm like, wait, you said they had nothing to do with it just 2 seconds ago. But all jokes aside, I'm really upset. I'm really super upset. When you messaged me this morning, I dropped off my kid at school. First thing I got was your text, and you're like, oh my gosh, huge L, and it was the 30 FPS thing, and I was like, this is the dumbest move that Arcane could have done to this game that was already going through the ringer for having a bad showing with IGN. What the heck were you thinking? Fix this. Don't tweet out that it's not going to be 30. Freaking fix it and have it ready May 2nd at 60 FPS. That's your only option.
And they didn't do that. And that sucks. J-Rock says they said soon after for Warhammer Darktide. I forgot about that. After they delayed it and still haven't heard from them. What's happening with the console version of that game?
Thank you, Jay. Thank you for reading that, Gaz. Warhammer Darktide launched in November on PC. It's an Xbox exclusive, timed, and it's running so crappy that they said we're going to work on the Xbox version later and get it done. So I think that game's going to have an entire year delay before it finally comes out. It's getting horrible reviews on Steam. It's just yet another example of you've got a game that barely looks like it's anything better than we got last generation. It's running like garbage on PC, and it's running at 0 FPS on a console. There is also Alex Battaglia from Digital Foundry said there's a major DX12 problem right now on PC and Xbox consoles, and they're scratching their heads wondering why games aren't running the way they're supposed to. And there's something wrong with the DX12 drivers or the API. I don't know, but it's whatever. Whatever.
What can you do, man? Like, we sit here, feels like for 2 years we've sat here trying to figure out this hardware problem, this performance problem, because there's the big chunky part of the narrative going into this generation was Xbox was winning this power narrative. Now it's losing it on so many different fronts, but to lose it with this first party title that is Redfall, there is no coming back from that. Only you'd have to be one of the most blinkered fanboys to sit there and defend this. And
right.
I don't know what to say to if you're one of those people. Yeah, that's it. Well, this is more like a venting session. So Captain Chat says, I'm so tired of this crap. I'm at the end of my tether with Xbox constantly being let down. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And then they're right to feel that way. I was feeling that way last year. And the reason why is because momentum was so important last year. And look at the sales now. Like Benji sales is like, I'll be honest. Like, I don't know why he's framing as, I'll be honest, I'm a bit concerned about the Xbox. Like, you don't work for Xbox, but he's like, Xbox Series X in the UK, there's a problem there. It's not selling. I'm like, well, no one's marketing it here. When's the last time we saw an advert for the Series X? I can't remember.
Xbox's marketing is to take Xbox marketing is to take like a positive journal article and retweet it. It drives me crazy. And I made the joke the other day. I applied for the an Xbox marketing position like a couple of years ago, and I didn't get a call back. I think,
why would we give you this job? You do it for free.
I don't want to take the pay cut and go work over there, but yeah.
They're the shit. The Microsoft's so shit. You'd be surprised at this company. Like, this is $1 trillion company and it behaves like this. There's so many failures here. Part of it is quite interesting to observe, really. It goes to show, like, no one's infallible, but especially Microsoft has there's an incredible propensity to shoot itself in the foot. I really am astounded by the way this company is run.
I don't even think it's that hard to run a video game company. Like, anybody who's here watching your show knows what they want to hear, right? Yeah. We know what we want to see from marketing. We know what we want to, get excited about. Like, how hard could it be? You have 30 studios, you have all of these IPs, you're not talking about them. You pretend like your games don't exist so you can hide them until the next big E3 showcase. Like, they're hiring concept designers on Fable. Yeah, save me.
Bro, did you see that? Bro, I already see these. Bro, you guys don't know in chat, right? Well, I don't know, for some reason, some dickheads think we are easy on Xbox. I don't know where they get this idea from. I for the whole of 2022, I got shat on, literally diarrhea from Xbox fans after watching XNC. Top comment was Gaz is a secret pony. We were always in our shows, me and you, we were rinsing Xbox.
You were really rough on 343 and everything.
I got blocked by them. But like, what more do you want? What more do you want? The ponies will never be happy until you spit on Spencer's face. That's what they hate, that guy. They hate Phil Spencer so much. But what was I going with this? We shat on them constantly, man. We've always done that. We've always done that. I don't know what.
I mean, those guys aren't happy until, you're right, until we're sending hate mail to the Xbox executives. Yeah, they're extremely moronic, and there's no reason to try and bring any reason to them. But I don't know. Yeah. I mean,
6-9 in the chat. 6-9 goes, they need to trash Game Pass and Phil Spencer. They always point at these two because Phil Spencer saved the brand, so he's one of the most successful bloody executives.
Phil and Game Pass are the best part of the whole platform. What are you going to trash that for? Phil,
you wouldn't have an Xbox. It was him telling Satya Nadella that Xbox needs to be in this space. Whatever he said to Satya Nadella caused them to spend $70 billion on this space, double down on it. Obviously, they failed in many regards, but they doubled down on it. So the only reason the PlayStation fanboys say get rid of Phil is that they don't give a shit about Phil. They just want him gone because he's the guy.
They want him gone because. He's saving the brand, and he's put a major threat on what they have expected to enjoy forever with PlayStation.
Exactly.
I mean, Jim Ryan's scared of Phil Spencer. Jim Ryan wants Phil fired because he's eating his lunch every day. Yeah, so I don't blame him.
Yeah, well, we're back to this square one with Xbox. Every time we said clean slate. 2022 2023 it's gonna be Redfall like IG and
I mean 2023 still pretty good. I just don't agree with you and a couple of our close friends that the game is going to get a 10 digit mark off because of the 30 frames.
79 is not that far off from 8.
Oh, I thought you were saying it was a 70. No, one of our buddies who will remain nameless is like, it's a 70, book it. And then one of our other buddies said the same thing. I'm like, dude, you don't dock a game 10 points for being 30 frames.
Not 10. I'm thinking 3 or 4, but that's still quite a lot. Yeah, from 82 to 79. It makes a big difference optics wise. Like, if you see a 79. Why do you think the PlayStation fanboys were losing their mind when they were celebrating when Horizon Forbidden West was 90? And then when they hit 89, they're like, they're like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, they've already been learning this week that Xbox has an 84% aggregate score, and PlayStation has like 82 for first party. But
Might go
Redfall is
down
going to
after
bring it down a little bit.
Redfall.
Ghostwire Tokyo is going to get its final score now that it's on Xbox in like a day or two, and that'll bring Xbox score down to probably even with PlayStation. But if Redfall, I thought Redfall would get like an 82. I've said that a bunch of times on my show and with you, right? I was thinking
Let
it's
us
probably
know
get
in
an
chat.
82.
What are your Metacritic predictions? Poison says 77 plus, but be specific. Say where 71 says the Suzo. Where did you say?
There's a magic with Arcane games that you don't get with most titles.
That is true. Typically you don't.
That will keep the game scoring pretty decently, but I have to wonder, like Randall Thor was like, it better be a locked solid 30. I go, don't say that to me. Locked 30 doesn't mean anything to me. Like it's got to be 60. 30. It's a video game. We're in the 2020s. I don't want a locked 30. I want a 60 frames game, because every game could drop 5 to 10 frames every once in a while, or drop 3 frames often, and it's not that big a deal. But when you have a game running at 30, it always looks crappy.
I'm seeing a lot of 70s, mid 70s.
Hargeet says 84. Even now, Hargeet Chani, you still think it'll be an 84? Because I know the game's good. I know it's fun. And I even played as the worst character. I thought Layla would be the best. And I heard from everyone else that Devinger, Jacob, and Remy were awesome. And I was like, I didn't feel like that with Layla. And they're like, oh, I did this and that. I'm like, oh, I didn't get to do that stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be good. 82.
It'll be interesting. If it hits the 80s, I think that
60 at best, score. Says Abby. Dude, this ain't Forspoken. This is Redfall.
A lot of people want it to be the Forspoken.
It's not going to be Forspoken. If it gets in the low 70s, I'm going to be like, well, by then I'll know. I'll know why it got in the 70s, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It has such great atmosphere too. Yeah. Like I was in this empty parking garage because most of the civilians are gone, and I was skulking around, and there was I could hear with the 3D headset, I could hear a vampire like in the corner going, oh, where are they? Kind of like you get in those video games when they can hear you. What's that?
They speak in English, the vampires?
It was saying something like they're rumbling because they're humans that have gone awry from a medical test and they become Nosferatus. But yeah, they were speaking something like they were angry that they were there and they know that we were around, and they were going to, once they find us, they're going to tear me to bits or something. And they were rustling around things, like knocking things over. And I was like, and I had a great shotgun and everything, but I was like, they're somewhere over there, and just had such a cool, like, and in the moment, guys, I'm like, this is so cool, but I'm like, I need to start getting some action. And if I was recording myself, I would have been really like chomping at the bit to record something really cool. But like the moment to moment stuff is pretty awesome too. So yeah, and the enemies did not stand still like they did in some of those clips. Yeah, I mean the vampires are swiping at you. They're lunging towards you because they can float like a few inches off the ground. They're lunging and slashing at you, and they're flanking you, and you're on the move. And I had to do a lot of hip firing because aiming down sights is not fast enough. Like I had to keep the gunplay moving. And people are here listening to the show. And shout out, what do you got? Almost 300 people here. We appreciate it. We're trying to paint more than 30 frames. That's the story. There's a lot to it because I was there, and there's a lot to it with the hardware and the technical stuff and Redfall's pedigree. There's just, I don't know, man. I'm frustrated.
Yeah, man. Like everyone's frustrated. I think almost unanimously frustrated, apart from obviously the PlayStation guys are celebrating, which is expected. the Xbox guys, which is fair enough. If it was just a PlayStation equivalent, I'd be there shitting on their chest. So it's all fair game.
I mean, when Forspoken looked bad visually, the tone of the game was really bad. The performance of the game was really bad. What were you doing in those moments? Were you letting them have their L quietly, or what?
I was just retweeting whoever J-Rock was because he was on a roll.
I
know. So basically, means I was console worried. But I actually was looking forward to Forspoken before they showed it off right at the start. If you watch it early
when it was called Project Athea or something, I was looking forward to it. Hey, I just got a reply on Twitter. Yeah. I put out a tweet 7 hours ago. I said, delay Redfall until 60F patch is ready. That was my tweet.
Yeah.
A guy responds to me with damage control.
How the flip is that?
People even understand what that phrase? People are so dumb. Can I say that maybe just a lot of humans are just not smart? Is that a bad thing to say? I feel like that's rude of me.
Yeah, no, it's
I
not.
apologize.
No, it's not. It's very
I'm
accurate.
sorry.
Most people are morons. They're so dumb.
I mean, gosh, this guy's got to be the dumbest.
I've realized there's so
He's
many
gotta
idiots
be
in the world.
Dumbest person on the planet. Damage control.
So
when I'm telling
many
Xbox, delay
idiots
it. Oh my god.
Yeah, guys. People don't read. Oh my days! We've been going on for a while. Look, let me wrap it up so I can. I still have to do some work, bruv. That's mad. It's 11 o'clock, and I have to wake up soon. Oh, my life. But yeah, look. By the way, shout out to 280, 290, how many people were in the chat. Thank you for joining us. This is my personal channel. Give a special shout out, everyone, to Colt Eastwood, who made these graphics for me. He was just doing it. I was like, guys, let's just go. Like, so shout out to Colt, the people's champion. Who takes?
Thank you.
You tolerate a lot. You go out of your way. You cover the games. You really push it, and then you get shat on by the community. And then that's also Xbox that's blaming you for it. Like,
I mean, in my life, 90% of the time, I'm enjoying everything. I get to play so many games. I get really cool opportunities, and then every once in a while, you get some guys like damage control. And I was telling my wife this morning, I'm like, I looked at my phone and it just had a guy reply to me with the clown emoji on my tweet where I said, hold on, I have to read this real quick. I said this after the outfall. I said, I didn't talk about the performance of Redfall back in March because it was running on a middleware PC with an old build. I asked about console. They weren't talking about anything except the game structure. We all love the game. And then I put the link to my video this morning, and some guy just replies clown, and then another guy goes, this you? And he shows a screenshot of my preview video from 3 weeks ago. This you, clown? And I was telling my wife, I go, it really seriously doesn't bother me. Like, I just kind of go, wow, like why? And I just mute him immediately. It's like, what they thought they had something there, but I appreciate it. Guys, it's really good to be able to sit and talk business with you, bro.
Man, it's good to be back, man. Hopefully we can do a little bit more of this during these kind of times where I'm awake, or just impromptu ones. I'm really grateful again for you sorting this out, helping me out with StreamYard. We've got StreamYard for the Game on Daily one. I didn't even know how to use it until bloody Colt taught me how to do it. OBS, and also Colt made
you guys graphics, taught me how to even get my show off the ground, so I would love to help with anything and everything.
So. I appreciate it. And shout out in chat. Listen, this is what happens with Xbox. Just keep holding their feet to the fire. That's what Xbox fans do, not ponies. The only time PlayStation fanboys call out PlayStation is when the PlayStation censors the Hitsani Miku Schoolgirl Panty Tentacle Edition Japanese anime game. That's the only time I see them in unison cry, when they censor their little hentai games. No,
that is the only time I've seen them call out PlayStation. Like, yes, you're right.
It's the only time I see them. It's like I'm like, that's what they care about. They love blocked some game
where you hit on high school girls or something, and exchange their underwear, and they're like, "This is atrocious," and I'm like, "You're going to jail." Why don't you take a seat?
Oh man,
bro, this has been so fun, man.
It has been great. Everyone in chat, thank you for joining us in the venting session. I'm sure Xbox will fuck up next time and we'll be here again. But hit the like and subscribe button. This channel, by the way, is dedicated not to just me game streaming. So I'll be playing Sekiro, which is an incredible game. I'm so salty that Xbox fucked up today because I wanted to play some Sekiro and I can't do that. And I have to do my work for my actual job at 11 p.m. But then I'm also going to be using this channel for like other stuff, life stuff, talk about random shit, movies, comics, things like that. Yeah, porn. Okay, not porn. But yeah, please hit that like button, subscribe.
Talk videos.
Really, yeah, thank you. I have no outro or anything because I'm branding everything up. But hopefully soon, watch me glow in front of you, and make sure you check out X and C every Monday, 1 a.m. with Mag and Colt Eastwood, the free marketing expert for Xbox. Take care, man. Peace out,
Thank you,
bro.
bro. I really appreciate it.
Cheers, man.
See you.